In this Two on Your Side original, local auto dealers say they want the state to pump the brakes on this plan and repeal it right away.
We are for EV vehicles. That is not what we're here to be against. We are for that. We are for cleaner air, but we are not going to force our customers to buy something that they don't want to buy.
New York State's electric vehicle mandate is approaching quickly, and it's causing a lot of headaches for local auto dealers. Critics of the mandate say that it will result in an economic disaster for New York State and the local auto industry, leading to employee layoffs.
The intentions of the mandate are there for cleaner air and transitioning to EV vehicles, but it's just not realistic at this state.
Lauren Paddock is the executive vice president of Paddock Chevrolet. She says the mandate will cause their dealership to stock cars they have less demand for.
We can't force consumer demand. They have to get to that place on their own. It's not my job to force them into any product, and that's what this mandate is essentially saying that we have to do.
You know, there's only so much room on an auto dealer's lot for inventory. These electric vehicles that you see right here make up less than 6% of total sales in a year. But come the end of this year, 2025, the government is mandating this 6% become 35%. And what does that do? It limits the amount of other choices you can have in a regular gas-powered vehicle.
Once all 2026 models are here, will be 35% electric vehicles. So right now, where you have your choice to pick electric, gas, whichever fits your lifestyle, by next year, you will see 35% electric vehicles, and without us selling that many, they will not actually provide more gas vehicles to us.
Time is not on the dealer's side. As I mentioned, New York's mandate requires all passenger cars, SUVs, and pickup truck sales be 35% electric by year's end, then 68% by 2030, and 100% of sales must be electric by 2035.
We're just not at the 35% yet. We see a future where EV is an important part of the automotive industry, but again, to force us to go to 35% as of right now, it's just not something that's feasible, not in any CARB state, let alone New York, where we're at 6%. So I think it's something that needs to be addressed sooner rather than later.
Jim Basil is vice president of Joe Basil Chevrolet in Depew. He also tells me this mandate is forcing some customers into the EV world quicker than the market and infrastructure is ready for them.
But at the current time, I just don't think we're totally ready to force 35% of our customer base into electric vehicles. I think it's a little premature, and I think that we're just not quite ready for it. Again, they're great vehicles. Our customers who it fits their lifestyle, they absolutely love them. But unfortunately, it just doesn't fit everyone in our market yet.
Some in the industry say the electric grid just isn't ready for all these electric vehicles on the roadways. Here's a local map of the DC fast chargers. As you can see, once you get out of the metro area, the pickings are slim.
Just look around. If you can't find an EV charger, you know, it's very hard to find that. So I think from an infrastructure perspective, I think from a consumer confidence perspective, I think from a consumer demand perspective, we're not there. Can we get there? Absolutely. Can we get there in a year? Can we get there in 2 months, late spring? No.
Local automotive journalist Lauren Fix says severe winter weather can limit the battery's range.
Where they just leave them at the charging stations because they don't charge during the winter because the electricity doesn't transfer as quickly.
The average gas vehicle costs nearly $50,000, while the average electric vehicle is now $66,000, though entry-level ones can start under $30,000.
If that's a Tesla, go buy a Tesla. If you want to buy a Hyundai, that's great, go buy one. But you shouldn't be forced to buy the propulsion, the part that pushes you forward. You should be able to make those choices. And that's true whether it's the food you buy, the places you live, the things you do for a living. You should be able to choose the car that you want. You should have freedom to do that. And there's a lot of legislation to try and help this, but they haven't got it through yet.
If consumers don't find the gas-powered vehicle they want locally due to limited inventory on dealer lots, they might be forced to head across state lines to purchase their new vehicle.
Unfortunately, it means that we'll have limited availability for a lot of our gas vehicles. We want people to shop here. We want people to shop local. You know, people that they're familiar with. We don't want to see them have to go out of state. But I think in some instances, if there's vehicles that they're looking for that we can't supply because we're going to be pretty hampered by this rule, You may see people go out of state.
I think that repealing it is the best solution right now. You can delay it, but if it just means a year or 2 years, we'll be back talking about the same thing, again and again.
Well, the dealers I spoke with tell me if the mandate stays in place and they are forced to sell the 35% by year's end, they won't need all the employees they currently have on staff now to sell basically half of what they currently sell now, having a direct effect on livelihoods, the local economy, and a huge community ripple effect. Now, the DEC did send me a statement in response that says New York State is committed to working with all parties to help ensure the state's smooth transition to electric vehicles for the health, environmental, and economic benefits that it will provide to New Yorkers. The DEC will continue to keep constant lines of communications with our congressional delegation, manufacturers, dealers, state partners, and other stakeholders seeking the most accurate information about reducing pollution from the transportation sector and our ongoing work to ease any potential compliance burdens.
All right, so Scott, what did the politicians you talked to have to say about this?
Interesting, Kelly, because there is bipartisan support. I spoke with local Republican Congressman Nick Langworthy about this. He recently held a few news conferences at some Western New York local dealerships discussing this exact mandate. Over the phone, he told me that he sees a lot of bipartisan support to eliminate the mandate and is urging Governor Hochul to reconsider it and allow for a more gradual transition that reflects local consumer demand. So we have not seen the end of this, but remember, 2026 models are coming onto their showroom floors and their lots very soon. So by the end of this year, they're being forced to have 35% electric, which really says there's a lot less gas or internal combustion engines that you can choose from. Coming soon.